Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get hip to the vision. This is Hypnovision, and I am the hypnotic DJ, your host, Nicholas. This evening, I'm going to talk about thought patterns, which is an extension of the last video, and as always, fresh from meditation. So, thought patterns, what are they? Well, I used to look at thoughts as a thought train, but through the lens of imagination and imaging the imagination, I began to understand how visions are formed. And that is what I want to cover tonight. How do we see images with our eyes closed? Now, I got to give credit to other people that have come before me. I can think of a specific example of KRS-One talking about the rock star image and keeping your mouth closed and hearing the phrase rock star in your mind. So that inner voice that is speaking rock star when your mouth is sealed. So on that concept, I asked myself, how do you vision the image in the first place? Well, we know we can, but how? I asked myself, and here's how I saw it through my imagination. First, let's be honest. It's really hard to explain what is in the imagination. But one thing is for sure. It is the gift of creation once a person can understand that imagination has no form whatsoever. So I'm going to stop here and just say that the imagination is pure energy. Like pure energy. It has no form. That is the I in imagination. The I in imagination. So the seat of creation where God, as most people refer to him, it's not really that though, is it? It's not just a gender. It is pure energy. So bouncing off of the law of gender, the inward journey is to balance that energy out inside. Find the center balance. Ooh, bumping the mic here. So it's easy to prove by asking yourself, what is the story that you are telling yourself through your self-talk? That will reveal the image in your imagination. And when I say that your imagination is limitless and it has no form, I saw this with my eyes closed, and I began to wonder, where does it begin and where does it end? It is an impossible task that makes us realize that you can imagine something as large as the earth inside of your mind. Wonderful, isn't it? The law of polarity through the lens of thought forms and imagination is the interesting take to consider. It helps us to understand what thought forms are. I used to think of thoughts as direct input, meaning I was always focusing on them, and it was a limiting view that was making my attention span very short. Hang on to the word span for just a minute as I explain further. With a short attention span comes little reaction time with feeling and emotion. So it's kind of like ADHD. What we need is a magnet to hold the pendulum of thoughts in a balanced way. Now, I said something about this in my last video, that your thoughts and emotions are kind of like a pendulum. So I want to stop for just a second and kind of address that. Early on last year, or a little over a year and a half ago now, I had hand drew this triangle, and I was going through like the early stages of journaling and just really like on the surface level starting to dig down deeper and deeper to what was in my imagination. And I've been studying symbolism for such a long time, but staring at sacred geometry and starting to do affirmation work, and through the writing I started to have a lot of visions, and I was having a lot of lucid dreams, and that kind of evolved into this journey that I am on now. That is why I named my company Hypnovision, because it is a play off of my stage name, but not just that, but the symbolism behind hypnosis and the history that that has with it, and all the benefits of breaking through the subconscious mind and reprogramming yourself and understanding how you got to that image in the first place. So when it comes to emotions and thoughts, when you start to think of an image and you charge it, you're charging it. So the polarity that you are charging it with is going to manifest that as real to you, which is reality. Real to you is reality. What is TV? Television. So what is reality? Real to me. So what you believe becomes real to you, therefore it is manifest in your environment. So one of the things that I haven't really talked about that helped me to crack the code on this was reverse psychology. If we grow up around this at a young age, it can be confusing. It can cause a lot of disorders, so to speak. That's the best way to put it, because your words are out of order. Your thoughts become out of order. So it's like banging your head against a wall, trying to get an outcome, and you get the opposite. And I have talked about opposite effect before, but I never really tied the link to the thought process behind it, of it being reverse psychology. So there's a sense of negative aspect to the reverse psychology, because you have to manipulate another person to get what you want. There is no equal give and take. And we can find ourselves feeling a lot of self-guilt and a lot of self-shame because we can overreact to certain situations when we are already in these type mindsets, and then we feel regret later on. And really, you should don't feel shameful. And if you are into meditation, and if you do stuff like that, there's I think it's called the hippo. It's during meditation, you focus on a person that you feel like there's some kind of amends that need to be made, and you would visualize being face to face with that person, and it's like 3 simple words: please forgive me, I'm sorry, and I love you. And if you focus during breathing when this happens, you can quite literally feel that tension start to dissipate from you, and that is like a release process. And while I'm thinking about it, I will say this: there's a lot of times when I'm in deep meditation, like, will I feel like I'm really detached from my body. In other words, the thoughts are not evoking feelings inside of my body. And I will have like random teardrops just run down my face, and I could feel the tear as it falls, but my body is completely relaxed. I can think of any kind of thoughts. And one analogy I can give to this is be like the Holy Ghost. The essence is one way to look at these things. When you want to shift your reality, what is real to me is to take on the essence. What is the essence of an earth angel? Well, it has many meanings to different people, but an earth angel is the one thing that you least suspect that comes into your life and leaves you with a blessing that you didn't expect. And it really changes you. So the essence of an earth angel is not necessarily somebody showing up with wings. It is that random act of kindness and compassion that we give to other people when they least expect it, when they feel like they don't deserve it. And we are the ones, not we, but anybody who takes that essence approach that can be seen as guardian angels to other people on the outside of us. So that's a really interesting way to look at the concept of what is the essence of an earth angel? What is an earth angel? What am I? Who am I? So the attention span needs a magnet. And I know I just got off course a little bit, but when I look at the triangle, right? You see all the celebrities doing this, but the triangle, the pendulum, right? Right brain, left brain. We need to hold the focus right in the center, bring it in to us. So we need a way to hold that. We need a way to anchor the pendulum in the center. So one of the things that I found interesting in my research that also ties back to the like of my name, my stage name, and just really seeing how all of this has been symbolized in my life is through hypnosis. But there's also what is called the hypnotic anchor, which is where we can set things within in ourselves, like that happy place that we can work on and practice that will help us regulate our emotions when we're out in the world and we are around other people. So if you want to learn how to protect your energy, you could use something that is called a hypnotic anchor. And if that is something that interests you, please Google it. Any other web browser. I try not to use Google as my main source, but you can definitely find plenty of information about what a hypnotic anchor is. Basically, you can create a vision of something that brings you peace, and it could be something that you can, in the middle of a conversation or in the middle of a work environment or something, you find yourself getting a little off balance. You can close your eyes, count to 3, visualize that space. It is an anchor that brings you back to center. It is the magnet that pulls you back into your balanced place. So that's one way to look at through the lens of polarity, as far as finding that balance between positive and negative, because there's so much that happens in the imagination that sometimes we can add self-guilt, self-shame, and we really shouldn't, because imagination is ours to create with. And part of the process is to learn what it is we are creating, right? So once we understand what emotions are and how they attach to the thoughts and create a form, which is the image in our imagination, we can begin to understand the pendulum effect on our mindset, how it changes our self-talk when the emotion of self-image swings too much in the wrong direction. So if our self-image or self-talk can start to become too much on the negative side, it is like pulling that pendulum to the negative side, and our emotions, our self-esteem begins to lower. We don't have enough energy in motion to pull that pendulum back to the center, right? So the way this would manifest in a person through the emotional aspect, through the trauma aspect, would be different events that they have gone through in their life that created an attachment to a thought and emotion, which manifests as tension, disease, or happy, blissful thoughts. It could go both ways, because life is duality, right? Because there is the light, there is the dark. You can't have one without the other. You can't have positive without negative. So neutral is the balance in between. Now, I drew an interesting picture. Now, I am not an artist when it comes to drawing, but basically, when you see the Masonic towers, there's a lot of symbolism that goes there, but you can see the emotional bandwidth up and down. It's like a spectrum. And then there's the thoughts, right? The higher thoughts, the lower thoughts from the lower mind, the survival mode versus not being in survival mode, and being able to speak directly what it is you want, and not be attached to certain things. And that attachment manifests in our body. And when that happens, we can become addicted to the feeling in our body. And going outside of that feels foreign. It is the unknown. It does not feel right for me to feel good about myself. It does not feel right for me to say that I am confident. I am amazing because I sound self-conceited. That is a victim self-shaming mindset, if you want to be honest and uncover it and really acknowledge it. Because if you don't acknowledge it, then you can't create a solution or create a change, because denying the knowledge means you don't know where the ledge is, and you act from knowledge. So everything that we do in life is based on belief. So we act from our belief systems, which are sometimes very deeply rooted below the soul. If we look at the tree of life, as above, so below, beneath the soul, there is a whole nother system that supports the tree above. and whatever is below will eventually grow out to above. Now, the symbolism between the soul in the yard and the soul in the being, I mean, how many more ways can we slice this to come to the same understanding that everything is connected? There is the inside and outside voice. There is that voice that is always chattering, those images that are always going. And meditation allows you to sit down, quiet the mind, and literally let that turbulence, the emotional waters, to calm. And one of my first meditations that I did was visualizing being on water and calming the waves, visualizing the raft under me and the waves slowing down and just gently rolling, and imagining the sun hitting my face. And that would allow me to allow my emotions to settle, and I would start to be able to feel tension in different places in my body. For many years, I had tension right in my temple, and through meditation, I've been able to release a lot of that and just basically get rid of it. And I want to just share these things with people in hopes that it helps, in hopes that it gives understanding, which is really one of the most valuable things that you can give to another person outside of love, is to understand them, to try to understand them, to listen to what it is that they are really, truly, genuinely saying, because we all want to be heard. We all want to be seen. And so that's why I'm doing this. It's not for the likes. It's not for anything else. It's just because it's my way. It's my time to give back to society, to something bigger than me. There is so many things going on in the world today. And guys, we are in a beautiful time, and a lot of people don't see that yet. It's coming. There is something big coming. I'm talking about revival on a earth-size scale. It's coming, guys. So stay tuned out there, and it's time to get hip to the vision, because I'm telling you, people are waking up worldwide. And with that, guys, I will see you down the road.